know how London was, man. You know, I mean, women was coming down over different functions, the fairs, schools, different activities. So wasn't no secret that everybody was making babies in London. And the guards he was talking about, I had 7 female officers on my indictment that they said was my women. And I married a sister named Betty Simmons, who used to be the sergeant behind the wall. She used to be Captain White's woman. I took her from the captain, and she wound up quitting her job because of me. And eventually, we got married, and she was the first female sergeant that ever worked behind the wall. And she stayed with me. You know what I mean? They said in the House of Pain that I was a champion of the boxing team in Lawton, which I was. I was engaged to a female inmate over youth center too. I had several relationships with female guards, and I married one of them. 7 females was on my indictment. All of them held up, stood tall, and none of them testified against me. They held up better than the men did on the Kingpin case. I had children in Lawton. I had 5 children by visitors. They visited me in Lawton. And I had relationships with female guards. So this punk that did this interview with this prosecutor, the prosecutor did that to try to get his little shine on, but at the same time, throw a curveball slandering my name and my reputation. I had already boxed. I've been boxing since I was 12, but I was telling Avon Little, our homie out of D.C., he was fighting pro, and he had a big fight over Baltimore Civic Center. He supposed to been fighting Sugar Ray Leonard's cousin, Odell Leonard. And they wanted somebody to get him in shape for the fight, so they came and got me. And said, man, come on, go down to Anacostia Park, man, get Avon some rounds, man, because we know you're going to get him some work. In fact, he was staying with me and Sylvia, the woman I'm telling you about.
Right.
Avon and his son's mother, Karen, was living with us. I came home June 15th, 1973, from USUN.
Okay.
My intentions was to go box. Sugar Ray Leonard was making noise at the time. We had another homie named Larry Henry out of Kenilworth. He fought Sugar Ray 3 times. They had a good boxing gym. Ham, you know, his son became the champion of the world, Mark Johnson. He became the champion of the world. So a lot of people wanted me to come home and fight, but I'm 19. You know, and I just came home from my first adult bid. In my mind, I wanted to be a gangster, so I started sticking up. Because I had a vicious stick up here all day. As soon as I came home, I said, oh, we got Flower here with us now, let's go. So I want to fight, but I can't fight. Because I'm being pulled in 2 directions. My heart wasn't in it for real. While in Lawton, you know, they had one of the best boxing teams in the country. I off in Lawton in 74 before I went to the federal system. I stayed in the federal system a couple of years till I came back in 76. That's when we had one of the best boxing teams in the history of Lawton, and I became the middleweight champion of Lawton. We used to fight Richmond State Penitentiary, Baltimore, all the gyms, so I became the middleweight champion. That's what they wrote in the magazines. All the House of Pain, Don Deal wrote that I became the middleweight champion. And they sent me back to the federal system in 77. From 77 to 81, I'm in the federal system, but a brother named Shaheed Muhammad, whose brother Murad Muhammad used to be Muhammad Ali's bodyguard, was in several prisons with me, and he kept on telling people about this guy out of D.C., man, that could be the champion of the world if he ever get an opportunity and a chance. I'm the first prisoner in the history of Lawton that turned pro while inside Lawton. I'm the first one. Now, other prisoners that was in Lawton went on the street and turned pro, but I'm the first prisoner in the history of Lawton that signed a professional contract while a prisoner in Lawton. So, Murad Muhammad was my promoter. I had 2 lawyers. The warden was my manager, Benny O. Hodges. He was the manager, who was my boxing manager. And we started a program that was the same type of program that started in Rahway State Prison when James Scott was fighting on NBC And
in October, James Scott would have one of the biggest nights of his career. He made history. His manager negotiated a fight with the #1 ranked light heavyweight in the world, Eddie "The Flame" Gregory. In the same auditorium where the riots took place, James, also known as inmate 57735, was ready. This was a big deal. It would be the first professional fight to ever be broadcasted from a prison.
James Scott is a devastating puncher.
The winner by unanimous decision, James Scott.
The fight lasted a full 12 rounds with James as the winner. James would go on to fight his professional opponents from behind.
They had a 5-year plan for me. If I won all my fights in 5 years, the mayor was going to give me an institution time cut, and I'll be on the street. See, they can petition. Anybody sends under DC code, you can always get an institution time cut. My 15th fight was supposed to have been on NBC. They was going to take me to Broadway to fight James Scott, who was number 10 in the world at the time. But in between time, Murad Muhammad was bringing fighters down to see me fight. He brought the light heavyweight champion of the world, Dwight Kwawi, down Lord to see me fight.
In March 1983, Kwawi would lose to Michael Spinks. The rematch was supposed to take place a year later, but things changed for Kwawi. Kwawi would get revenge against Michael Spinks by beating his brother, Leon Spinks. Just 4 months later, on July 12, 1986, after a 15-round fight, Holyfield would give Kwawi his third professional loss, and in a split decision, Holyfield would become the new WBA World Junior Heavyweight Champion.
The weight pretty much the same, big height advantage for Holyfield, and with that comes a reach advantage of almost 6 inches. So ahead, live on Wide World of Sports, the 15-round junior heavyweight fight for Kwawi's World Boxing Association title. Stay with us. Big right that really stunned Kwawi. He stuttered. But now look at him. Still fire left in his eyes and in some of his punches.
I think that was the experience. I think Dwight may know he has to knock him out. I think he might have thought the way to get him to come in wide open was to back up. And there's a
I mentioned that in a letter I wrote to the Attorney General, Eric Holder, when I was trying to get some help on my Kingpin case. So Dwight Kwawi came, the trainers came down. Sugar Ray Leonard's trainer, Dave Jacob, Adrian Davis, who trained Lennox Lewis, Sugar Ray Leonard, Pepe Correa, who trained Simon Brown, Maurice Blocker. All the local pros came, and me and Braxton was supposed to put on the exhibition, but he had a 15-round fight with Michael Spinks, and they didn't want to risk him getting hurt. So I fought a local pro named Leon Smokey Middleton, who fought former champion Saad Muhammad. And I whipped him that day. I put him in the hospital. So leapfrog from that to 85, when we had a ride in Lawton, and they said I was the leader of the ride, so they sent me back to Marin, Illinois, March 85. May 85, the D.C. Court of Appeals threw my whole 75 years of life sentence. I would say he was doing the illegal sentence. He got to be resentenced.
So this was instituted by, let's talk about Plout.
Plout is the one. He always hated me because he didn't like that the blacks were supporting me. You gotta understand, the mayor used to come see me fight, city council. The mayor's wife, she was in charge of the boxing and wrestling commission in D.C. Her name is on my boxing license. And, everybody was excited. And so Plout hated me. He the one canceled my boxing career.
And as soon as you got there, you guys kind of bumped heads, or he just targeted you as soon as you
He
got there?
targeted me because he felt like I was a black man with too much power and too much respect. And you know what I mean? And he was the only white, everybody else was black, from the warden, the captain, and you know what I mean? And I wound up pulling the captain's woman, and I married her. She was a sergeant. So Plout hated me, you know what I mean? My life sentence back in D.C. Court, I had Kenneth Mundy, who was one of the top lawyers in D.C. at the time. This is the same lawyer who beat the case from Murray Bird when he got caught smoking crack. So Kenneth Mundy told my mother, my family, everybody, go ahead and buy him a car, put welcome home signs up, he coming home. I came back from Maryland to D.C. jail, and everybody congratulated me for giving that 75 to life back. They said, man, you finally going home. So politics played another role.
And this was still in 85?
Yeah, this is 85. I came back to D.C. jail in May 1985 to go back to court to get re-sentenced. My lawyer had it already worked out that I'm going to get time served, meaning I'm going to get 10 to life because I've been in 12 years. So he's going to give me 10 to life, 12 to 36, a number like that. So what happened was, when the prosecutors contacted the Bureau of Prisons and the D.C. Department of Corrections to get a progress report for my sentencing, the people of Lawton, William Plout again, he said, he going on the street. He said, man, this man just killed somebody down here. How he going home? He on investigation for murder. I got stabbed November 82. And the guy that stabbed me got killed. So when the prosecutor told the judge, a black woman, assistant, we got a black judge, black prosecutor, black lawyers, family black, everybody in the court black, Plout sent 2 white men up to the court to testify. Now look, my boxing promoter testified for me, the director of the Department of Corrections testified for me, the former warden came to court for me. They said further incarceration would serve this man no purpose. He need to go home. But them 2 white dudes, Plout sent them 2 white dudes up there. Why y'all up here testifying against him that his sentences don't have nothing to do with Lawton? This is his criminal conviction. The man trying to go on the street.
And this is Paul Krul
and Dern. Walter Dern, that's right.
Okay.
They came to testify against me at my sentencing. But now, the warden was there for white dudes said, everybody in the court that seen it was racism, and even Kenneth Mundy say, why y'all up here testifying against this man's sentencing that ain't got nothing to do with the Department of Corrections? So Kenneth Mundy said, this is white straight up racism. Y'all hate this man. So the judge, she got scared. She said, I can't let him go today. I'm going to chop his time down, and I want y'all to file a motion so I can give him another time cut so he can see the streets one day. In 1988, she gave me another time cut. She chopped my time down some more, so now I see some daylight I can go on the street. I came back to the D.C. Department of Corrections in 1988. By this time, Plout done moved up from assistant warden to the warden. He the warden of D.C. jail. So he put me on special handling and locked me down for coming back. And May 17th, 1994, I went back to Maryland, Illinois from Lawton.
Why?
Because the Justice Department and prosecutors in Alexander, Virginia was plotting trying to give me a case to keep me from coming in the street. And this was their last ditch effort to keep me from coming in the street. So they dragged me out of Lawton, put me on a private jet and flew me to Maryland, Illinois.